think the deeper fact is, do we have some level of, there are trade-offs to any policy choice, but do we have a level of commitment to medical choice that actually would believe that you would have private institutions that would backfill the role played by the FDA as trusted gatekeepers to consumers, but without being centrally as prone to capture as the FDA actually is? And I think that's where I start. I'd love to hear your views on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a deep question, and there's just so many places to jump off there. Maybe we could start by talking about the capture part. I mean, the capture part of the FDA is that, while the FDA employees work at the FDA, they are technically prohibited from working for consulting for pharmaceutical firms. But when they leave the FDA, 60 or 70% of people end up working for consulting for the pharmaceutical firms. And I believe in the primaries, you were critical of Governor Haley for this particular thing, this kind of revolving door politics where, you set out to do good, you stay to do well for yourself. And so that raises the fundamental question of whether or not the FDA employees, is there real motivation to regulate these drug products in a way that's best for the American people? Or is there real motivation in an audition to some way work across the table and take that bureaucratic technical expertise and sell it to the companies to create the hurdles that they themselves know how to jump over and sell that expertise to the companies later? And I think that's an open question. And so that's one of the ways in which they're being captured. The other way they're being captured is, I think, the extreme lobbying efforts that are being placed on politicians and the political pressure on them. The other thing you said that I think is quite interesting is, what do we get for all their regulation? And I think we have to acknowledge that, well, actually, maybe let me talk about the choice for a second. The choice to me is an interesting one because, as you point out, that there's two types of errors being made here. One, they can coerce you to get a medical product, maybe if that's not in your best interest. And the other thing is they can prevent you from getting a medical product that you might want to try, knowing fully well that we don't understand the safety signals and we don't understand the full information there, but you have a terminal illness. You may feel like, what do I have to lose by trying? So they're preventing both things, and they've made errors on both ends. I mean, I think the vaccine mandates, particularly around young men who are in college, which were implemented, from the White House down and by many universities, clearly led to net harm because a college man who received dose 2 and beyond of the mRNA vaccines had greater harm from the risk of myocarditis than they could possibly have from the benefit in COVID-19 outcomes because they're young and healthy. And so that's an example of the administrative state, actually, I think, FDA plus White House plus, OSHA, plus the pressure they placed on colleges, actually causing harm to the American people by forcing them to take a product that they may not have wanted. Now, how many people didn't get access to a product that might have helped them? I think that's a tougher question to answer. And we could talk more about that. I'm not aware of any sort of really good studies that get at that, but that's sort of what you're getting at. They're blocking both kinds of choice. And then the question is, are they in the sweet spot? Are they somehow, could they shift the dial a little bit? We don't know much about that.